The planet Viridia had always been calm. Its sky was a pale green, stretching over rolling plains of tall, golden grass. Human settlers had arrived only a few years ago, building small colonies near the planet's minerals. The colony of New Horizon was one of the largest. It had rows of metallic buildings, solar towers, and mining facilities that stretched toward the horizon. Humans had come here to study, to mine, and to make a new life far from Earth. But Viridia had secrets. It began subtly at first. Small tremors shook the ground, barely noticeable. Some miners blamed faulty machinery. Others thought it was natural shifting beneath the soil. But soon, the tremors grew stronger. Buildings shook. Machines rattled. And strange sounds echoed from the deep caves. Low, resonant tones that humans could not understand. The colony's leader, Commander Mira Solis, called an emergency meeting. She was practical, brave, and used to making tough decisions. "We do not know what is causing this," she said, her voice firm. "But we must be careful. Prepare defense teams and alert everyone to stay indoors if necessary." Among the attendees was Dr. Elias Wren, the colony's xenobiologist. Elias was tall and lean, with careful eyes that always seemed to observe more than others. He had studied alien life for years, but nothing prepared him for what he would see next. "They're intelligent," Elias said quietly, almost to himself. "I can feel it. This is not just a natural creature. Something else is happening beneath our feet." Most people ignored him. Fear had a way of drowning out caution. That night, the sky above New Horizon seemed to shimmer unnaturally. A greenish haze spread across the stars. Then came the tremor stronger than anything before. The ground split near the edge of the colony, and from the fissure it came. It was enormous. Towering, dark and writhing, with limbs like twisted branches, shining faintly in the strange green light. Its eyes glowed like molten gold. When it moved, the ground itself seemed to tremble. People screamed and ran. Alarms blared. The soldiers raised their weapons, but bullets and lasers bounced harmlessly off its thick, scaly hide. The creature made no aggressive sound at first. It simply watched. The world, the entire colony, felt smaller, as if the Earth itself had shrunk under its presence. Elias did not run. He stood at the edge of the trembling platform and watched. Something about the creature's stance, the way it tilted its head, suggested awareness. Not just instinct, it was intelligent. Commander Solis yelled from her hover platform. "Fall back! Everyone! Evacuate to the inner domes!" Elias shook his head. "No. If we run, we'll never understand it. We need to observe first." The creature lowered itself closer to the fissure. A long, flexible limb reached down and touched the ground. Sensing. Dust rose in tiny clouds around its massive claws. For a moment, the tremors stopped. Silence fell over New Horizon. The colonists stared, frozen in fear and awe. Hours passed. The creature did not attack. It simply observed, moving slowly, almost cautiously. Elias took careful notes, sketching its movements and sounds. He noticed that it seemed drawn to certain minerals near the fissure. Perhaps it was feeding or protecting something hidden underground. Meanwhile, fear grew among the humans. Rumors spread. Some claimed it could control minds. Others whispered that it would destroy everything. A few tried to flee to the landing docks, hoping to leave Viridia entirely. But the creature did not follow. It moved with purpose, not malice. It seemed to know the humans were not its prey. Elias felt a strange connection, as if the being were sending a message without words. The next morning, soldiers attempted to get closer. They brought armored vehicles and high-powered weapons. Commander Solis gave the order. "We cannot let this creature roam freely near the colony. Stand ready. If it attacks, neutralize it." Elias pleaded with her. "We don't understand it. These weapons will only make it angry. Give me a chance to communicate first." Solis hesitated. She trusted Elias but also had a responsibility to protect her people. Finally, she nodded reluctantly. Fine. But one wrong move, and we will defend ourselves. Understand? Elias approached the fissure slowly. He carried no weapons, only a small device to record vibrations and sounds. The ground shook slightly with each step. Dust rose in tiny clouds. The creature raised its head and turned toward him, golden eyes gleaming. Elias stopped and lowered his gaze respectfully. He did not shout or wave. He simply stood there, calm and steady, letting the creature notice him. Minutes passed. The colony held its breath. Then, a strange sound echoed soft, like a hum. The creature's limbs shifted slowly, almost as if it were measuring Elias's intentions. Finally, it lowered one massive limb, bringing it close to the surface where Elias stood. Elias raised his hand slowly, palm open. "I am not your enemy," he whispered. His voice was calm, steady. The creature paused. Then, in a gesture so slow it seemed like hours, it touched the ground near Elias's feet. A small tremor ran through the soil, like a heartbeat. Elias felt it in his chest, a strange resonance that made his skin tingle. Back in the colony, people gasped. Soldiers relaxed slightly, but only slightly. They had never seen anything like this. Elias continued to observe, documenting everything. He noticed that the creature responded to certain vibrations, certain movements. It was intelligent. Not just a monster, it was a being with purpose and awareness. That night, Elias returned to his lab and pored over his notes. He realized the creature was not aggressive because it wanted to harm humans. It was protecting something, perhaps a nest underground. Its behavior suggested care, not malice. The next morning, a tremor stronger than any before shook the colony. This time, the creature's movements became urgent. It moved toward a cluster of rocks near the fissure and began digging. Elias watched, heart pounding. There were signs of life beneath the soil, small, delicate shapes he could barely make out. The creature was protecting its young. Elias ran back to the colony and explained everything to Commander Solis. "It is not attacking us for no reason. It is protecting its young. If we try to destroy it, we will make it fight back harder. But if we show care, maybe we can communicate." Solis frowned. "And if we fail?" Elias met her gaze. "Then we fail. But humans have always found a way to reach the unknown. We cannot shrink from it." The next few days were tense. Soldiers patrolled cautiously. Colonists stayed inside. Elias made careful trips to observe the creature, leaving harmless objects and studying its reactions. Each time, the creature seemed to understand. Its massive eyes followed him. Its movements became slower, more deliberate. Then came the day Elias decided to get closer than ever before. He approached the fissure with nothing but his recorder and a small metal device to measure vibrations. The creature raised its head, tilting it curiously. For the first time, Elias felt that the being recognized him, not as a threat, but as a potential friend. He reached out slowly, just a few feet from its massive limb. The creature paused, then lowered its limb closer to him. Dust swirled around the ground. Elias's heart pounded, but he stayed calm. He had never felt more aware of the vastness of the universe and of the courage that humans could find inside themselves. The world felt smaller around them, yet somehow larger at the same time. Humans were tiny, fragile, and fearful, but capable of empathy, patience, and bravery. Elias knew that this moment was the beginning of something extraordinary. And somewhere beneath the surface, the creature's young stirred, unaware that a human had seen beyond fear and chosen to reach out. For the first time on Viridia, humans began to understand that not all monsters were enemies, and that courage and care could bridge the gap between worlds. The next morning on planet Viridia began with a quiet sky. The green clouds drifted slowly above the golden fields. But inside the human colony of New Horizon, no one felt calm. The presence of the giant creature near the fissure kept everyone tense. Dr. Elias Wren woke early after only a few hours of sleep. His mind was full of questions and theories. He had seen something the others had, not a moment of understanding. A moment when the creature responded to him, not with anger, but with awareness. He walked toward the command center where Commander Mirasolis was already studying reports from the night patrol. She looked tired. Her armor suit hung loosely around her shoulders, and her hair was tied back in a messy way. "You were out there again last night," she said, without looking up. Elias nodded. "Someone has to study it." Solis sighed. "Elias, our people are scared. If that creature makes one wrong move, panic will break out. I need clear answers." "I know," Elias said softly, "but fear won't help us. We need patience." Solis finally met his eyes. Patience doesn't protect a colony. The creature remained close to the fissure throughout the morning. Soldiers watched from a distance, their weapons ready but not raised. The tremors caused by the creature's movements were smaller today, almost gentle. Elias walked toward the observation platform. He carried a pack of equipment, vibration recorders, scanning tools, and a few items he hoped the creature might react to. Small metal devices, shapes, and harmless minerals that could show whether the creature recognized patterns. As he approached, the creature lifted its large head. Its golden eyes glowed faintly. It was taller than any building in the colony, with limbs like thick roots and plates of dark, glossy armor. But Elias no longer felt fear when he looked at it. He felt curiosity, and something like respect. "Good morning," Elias said gently. Though he knew the creature could not understand the words, he placed a circular metal object on the ground. It hummed softly, sending a gentle vibration through the soil. Elias stepped back to see the creature's reaction. The creature lowered one limb and tapped the ground near the device. The vibration changed. The creature paused, then tapped again very lightly. Elias's eyes widened. "It responded," he whispered. He adjusted the device to a different frequency. Again, the creature tapped. This time with a different rhythm. A language? A pattern? A form of communication? Elias felt excitement rising inside him. Back at the colony edge, a group of workers whispered among themselves. "Why is he doing this?" one man asked. "He's going to get himself hurt," a woman replied. "No," another said quietly. "Look at it. The creature isn't attacking." People slowly came out of their shelters, watching from a safe distance. Their fear slowly softened into curiosity, just like Elias had hoped. As the sun climbed higher, Elias continued observing. He played a series of soft vibrations, and each time the creature responded with its own pattern. He took notes quickly, responds to rhythm, recognizes changes in frequency, communicates through ground pulses. He realized something else. The creature kept glancing back toward the fissure, as if guarding something precious. Elias decided to test a theory. He picked up a small rock near the fissure, one containing glowing mineral threads common on Viridia. He placed it near the creature. The creature froze. Its golden eyes narrowed. Elias stepped back, hoping he hadn't made a mistake. Then the creature slowly reached forward. It gently enclosed the glowing stone with its claws and brought it close to the fissure. It was protecting it. Elias breathed out slowly. "You care about what's down there, don't you?" he whispered. He moved closer to the fissure and used a scanning tool to sense deeper layers beneath the soil. The scanner showed several warm shapes underground, small, clustered, and weak. Young ones. A nest. He looked back at the creature. It was watching him closely now, its posture lower and calmer. "You're a parent," Elias said softly. "Of course. That's why you're here." He walked carefully back toward the colony to report this discovery, but before he left, he turned and bowed slightly to the creature. The creature lowered its head as well. A gesture returned, a sign of recognition. Commander Solis listened carefully as Elias explained everything. "So the creature is a guardian?" she asked. "Yes," Elias confirmed. "Its behavior changes near the fissure. It reacts strongly when anything gets close to its nest." Solis frowned. "That explains its aggression toward the mining teams. They drilled close to the fissure." "Exactly," Elias said. "It wasn't attacking us. It was protecting its young." The commander paced slowly across the room. If the colony realizes this, fear will turn to anger. Some will say the creature is a threat to operations. We can't harm it, Elias said firmly. If we do, we will destroy something innocent. And we may provoke a violent response. Solis rubbed her forehead. What do you suggest? Let me continue building trust, Elias replied. If we show we respect its nest, maybe it will trust us in return. After a long moment, Solis nodded. You have one more day. If the creature moves toward the colony again, I'll have no choice but to defend our people. Elias understood. He didn't like it, but he understood. Elias returned to the creature that afternoon. This time, he brought 3 things: a glowing mineral sample, a harmonic sound device, a simple hologram generator. He placed the mineral on the ground. The creature responded with a soft hum, a sound so low it vibrated through Elias's chest. Then he activated the harmonic device. It produced a calm, gentle vibration, like a slow heartbeat. The creature responded again, matching the rhythm. Finally, Elias turned on the hologram generator. A small, floating shape appeared above it, a sphere of blue light. It rotated slowly. The creature tilted its head. It raised a limb and passed it gently through the hologram. The light rippled. Elias smiled. You're curious too, he said softly. For a moment, there was silence, deep and peaceful. It felt like the beginning of understanding. But then everything changed. A loud alarm blared from the colony. Elias spun around. Commander Solis shouted over the speakers. All units prepare. Unknown objects approaching from the east. Possible threat. Elias's heart sank. Not now, he whispered. The creature tensed instantly. Its limbs stiffened. Its eyes turned sharp and bright. Elias ran toward the observation tower, where he saw dust rising in the distance. Figures moved on the far plains, tall, dark shapes, smaller than the main creature but fast. Solis zoomed in with a scanner. Multiple hostiles. They appear to be predators. Elias's mind raced. Maybe they've come for the nest. Solis looked at him sharply. Are you sure? Yes, Elias said. The creature's species must have enemies. Predators that hunt their young. The commander cursed under her breath. If they reach the colony, there will be casualties. Elias looked at the creature. It stood tall, facing the threat. It let out a deep, rumbling sound, not at the humans, but toward the approaching predators. A warning. But something else happened. Something unexpected. A second tremor shook the ground, stronger than before. The fissure widened. A small shape moved beneath the soil and let out a soft, weak cry. One of the creature's young was very close to the surface. If the predators reached the nest first, Elias made a decision. Without hesitation, he grabbed a communication device and shouted, Commander Solis, I need a small team with shields. We must protect the fissure. Elias, are you out of your mind? Solis exclaimed. We don't have time, he said. If those predators reach the nest, we will lose the creature's trust, and it will go into a rage defending its young. That will put all of us in danger. Solis hesitated. Her duty was to protect humans. But she also understood the risk Elias described. Finally, she said, All right. I will send 3 soldiers with you. But you must stay behind them. Elias didn't argue. As they approached the fissure, the creature moved between them and the approaching predators. It spread its limbs wide, producing a powerful vibration through the ground, a warning blast. But the predators kept coming. They were sleek, dark creatures with long legs and sharp bone-like ridges on their backs. Their eyes glowed red in the green light. The creature stomped once, shaking the ground so hard that Elias and the soldiers nearly fell. But the predators kept moving, fast and hungry. Elias shouted to the soldiers, Hold your shields. Protect the fissure. The soldiers formed a line near the nest, their energy shields glowing bright blue. Elias stood behind them, recording everything with shaking hands. The giant creature charged forward. The ground trembled with every step. When it reached the predators, The collision sent dust flying high into the air, but the predators moved quickly, avoiding the giant's limbs and circling around it. Elias shouted, "They're trying to reach the nest from behind." The creature roared, a sound that echoed like thunder across the plains. It swung its limbs and crushed one predator. But two others slipped around the side. Elias felt his heart slam against his chest. No, no, no. A predator leaped toward the fissure. A blur of motion came from above. The giant creature moved faster than Elias thought possible. It reached the predator midair and slammed it into the ground. The last predator hesitated, then it fled into the plains. Silence followed. Long, heavy silence. The creature turned toward Elias and the soldiers. Its golden eyes glowed softly. It lowered its massive head toward the fissure, checking its young. Then, slowly, it looked at Elias. Not with fear, not with anger, but with gratitude. A deep rumble came from its chest, gentle, warm, like a thank you. Elias felt his throat tighten. "You're welcome," he whispered. Commander Solis arrived moments later, breathless. She looked at Elias, then at the creature, then at the crushed predators. "You saved its young," she said quietly. "No," Elias replied. "We saved them. Humans and the creature together." Solis stared at the creature thoughtfully. Maybe this is not our enemy after all." Elias smiled faintly. "No, it never was." The creature lowered its limb toward Elias, not touching him, but close enough for the gesture to be clear. Trust. A bond had formed, the beginning of something greater, something that would change everything. The sun rose slowly over the golden plains of Viridia, painting the sky in pale green and amber streaks. The colony of New Horizons stirred with cautious energy. The giant creature had remained near the fissure overnight, guarding its young. After the fight with the predators, humans had learned one important truth. This being was not merely a monster. It was intelligent, protective, and capable of understanding. Dr. Elias Wren woke early, as always. Sleep had been shallow. His mind was alive with questions and possibilities. He knew the creature had accepted him in a way no other human had yet managed. But understanding and trust were fragile, and Elias knew the next step would be the most dangerous of all. He dressed carefully, leaving behind all unnecessary tools. Today, he would try something no human had dared. He would reach out and touch the creature, not aggressively, not to control it, but to make a connection, to bridge the gap between species. As he approached the fissure, he saw the creature's enormous silhouette against the dawn sky. Its limbs moved slowly, almost like a dance, and its golden eyes followed his every motion. Elias felt a strange mix of fear and exhilaration. His heart pounded, but his hands were steady. "Steady," he whispered to himself. "Calm. Respect." He placed a small, glowing mineral near the fissure, as he had done before. The creature paused, its massive limbs shifting slightly. Elias watched, letting the being take the lead. Slowly, he stepped closer, measuring each footfall against the vibrations of the ground. The creature lowered its head slightly, as if acknowledging him. Elias smiled faintly. He had learned to read its subtle gestures. The tilt of the head, the movement of limbs, the pulse of vibrations through the soil. Each motion carried meaning. Today, he hoped, those meanings would include trust. Hours passed as Elias observed. The colony watched from a distance, keeping a cautious eye on the scene. Soldiers and civilians alike whispered quietly. Some had begun to believe Elias might be right, that this being was not a threat, but a possibility. Elias began placing objects near the fissure rocks, minerals, and simple shapes. The creature responded each time, tapping the ground or adjusting its massive limbs. Elias noted every movement in his recorder. Then he knelt near the edge of the fissure, palms open, and spoke softly. "I do not want to harm you. I do not want to take your young. I am only here to understand and to help." The creature paused, its glowing eyes fixed on him. For a long moment, nothing moved but the faint ripple of dust on the ground. Then, slowly, it extended a limb toward him. The massive claw hovered inches from Elias, His breath caught. This was the moment he had been waiting for. He remained calm, letting his energy and intentions be steady, visible only in his posture and his stillness. Finally, he reached out. His hand trembled slightly, but he did not pull back. The creature's claw hovered above him for a moment, then touched the ground near his hand. Elias felt a deep vibration run through the soil. It was like a heartbeat. The next hour passed in a strange, silent communion. Elias remained kneeling, observing, and reacting carefully. The creature responded with subtle movements, gentle taps, and low vibrations. Each gesture spoke of caution, curiosity, and understanding. It was aware of him, and he of it. At one point, the creature's massive body shifted, blocking the view of the nest from a group of humans watching from afar. Elias realized that the being was not only protecting its young but also beginning to protect him as a partner in this moment. It was a revelation. Humans had always assumed intelligence required words, gestures, or technology. But here, Elias realized, empathy and respect could communicate more clearly than any language. "See," he whispered to himself. "We can reach each other without fear, without violence." Suddenly, a low rumble echoed across the plains. Elias's attention snapped to the horizon. A group of the smaller predators had returned. Drawn by the presence of the nest, they were faster, more cautious, and hungrier than before. Elias froze. The creature stiffened, ready to defend its young again. But Elias remembered the last encounter. He had to act carefully. If the creature attacked while he was close, he could be crushed. But if he did nothing, the predators would threaten the nest and force the being into a desperate battle. Elias made a quick decision. He ran a short distance back to a safe position and activated a small defensive device he had prepared. It sent vibrations into the soil, creating a rhythmic signal the creature recognized. The predators paused, confused by the vibrations, giving the creature a moment to react. With a sudden, graceful motion, the creature extended a massive limb, scooping up one predator and tossing it aside with incredible precision. Another predator approached, but the creature's movement was fluid, almost elegant, striking it down without harming the nest. Elias watched in awe. He had never seen anything like this. The creature was not just powerful, it was intelligent in its fighting, precise, protective, and careful. Once the predators retreated, the creature returned its attention to Elias. Its massive claw lowered again, this time closer. Elias understood the message. Trust fully. He took a deep breath and slowly placed his hand on the creature's limb. His palm touched the rough, warm surface. A low vibration ran through his arm and chest. It was not threatening, it was recognition, connection. For a long moment, nothing moved but the subtle pulse of energy passing between them. Then, the creature pressed its claw slightly against his hand. Elias felt its strength, its size, but also its restraint. It could crush him in an instant, but it chose not to. He whispered softly, "I see you. I understand you. I will not harm you." The creature's eyes glowed brighter, golden, and calm. It lowered its massive body slightly, allowing Elias to rise to his feet without fear. Around the fissure, dust swirled gently in the soft morning light. Humans watching from the colony held their breath. Some cried silently. They had witnessed something miraculous. A human had touched the unknown and was not destroyed. A human had reached across a divide, thought uncrossable, and made contact with a being far beyond human comprehension. Elias stepped back slowly, never breaking the gentle contact. The creature did not move away. It seemed content, curious, and patient. Over the next several hours, Elias continued this careful interaction. He learned the creature's patterns, its gestures, its way of communicating without words. He discovered that the creature could sense vibrations in the soil over long distances, respond to subtle shifts in sound, and even recognize individual humans. It became clear that the being was more intelligent than anyone could have imagined. It had strategies, emotions, and instincts that went beyond survival. It cared for its young. It observed. It reacted thoughtfully. Elias documented everything, noting patterns of communication, gestures of trust, and protective behaviors. He realized humans often underestimated intelligence outside their own species. They assumed fear was the primary response, but here, compassion, patience, and respect worked more effectively than weapons or force. That evening, Commander Solis approached Elias at the fissure. She was quiet, contemplative. "I've watched," she said softly. "You were right. It's not a monster. It's something greater." Elias nodded. "We can learn from it. And maybe it can learn from us. Together, we can protect each other and the nest." Solis studied the creature from afar. "I don't know if all humans would understand this. Most would see only fear." "Some humans may never understand," Elias said. "But that doesn't mean we should stop trying. Understanding begins with one step, one connection." The creature shifted slightly, bringing its massive claw closer to Elias. The gesture seemed to acknowledge her words. The young in the nest stirred slightly, safe under its guardian's careful watch. For the first time, Elias felt the full weight of his role, not just as a scientist, but as a bridge between species. The first touch had begun a bond, one that could grow into trust, friendship, and something that might change humanity's view of the universe forever. Over the next few days, Elias and the creature developed a careful routine. He visited the fissure, leaving harmless objects and observing its reactions. The creature responded with subtle vibrations, movements, and gestures. Soldiers learned to recognize these patterns and understood when the creature felt calm or alert. The colony began to see the change as well. Fear still lingered, but curiosity and hope grew. Humans began to understand that strength was not only in weapons, but also in patience, empathy, and courage. Elias realized that humans often looked at the unknown with fear, but now, standing at the fissure, hand against the massive limb, he understood the opposite. Understanding and courage could reach beyond fear, and humans had the power to do just that. For the first time on Viridia, humans and the unknown touched literally and figuratively, and a new path opened. The creature's young stirred safely beneath the soil. The predators had been driven off. The colony was watching, and Elias Wren, small and fragile compared to the giant being, had shown the greatest strength of all: trust. The world that had shrunk from the monster began to expand in a new way, revealing hope, understanding, and a connection that could shape the future of both species. And for the first time, Elias felt certain of one truth: humans could reach across any divide if they dared to see beyond fear and act with courage. The plains of Viridia glowed softly under the rising sun. The colony of New Horizon was awake and alert, but a different energy now filled the air. The fear that had once gripped the humans was still present, but it had been replaced in part by curiosity, hope, and the memory of what Dr. Elias Wren had achieved. The giant creature remained near the fissure, guarding its young. But something had shifted. It no longer viewed humans as mere intruders. It recognized Elias, and through him, the humans as allies. Yet the planet had not finished testing them. From the horizon came a low rumble, different from the tremors that had become familiar. This was a warning. Elias noticed it first, standing near the fissure with his hand gently resting on the creature's massive limb. The ground vibrated, subtle at first, then stronger. "Commander Solis," he called into his communicator. "Something is approaching from the east. More predators, or worse." Solis's voice came back, calm but tense. "All units, prepare for immediate defense. Civilian shelters locked. Defensive perimeters active." Elias stepped back from the creature, watching it lower its massive head in preparation. Its golden eyes glowed brighter. Scanning the horizon, he could feel the tension radiating through the vibrations in the soil. "They're coming," he whispered to himself. The threat appeared slowly at first. A pack of predators larger than the ones before, faster, more cunning emerged from the plains. Their red eyes reflected the green light of the sky. Elias could see their long, sharp limbs and bone-like ridges. They moved in perfect coordination, surrounding the colony from multiple sides. Soldiers took positions, raising energy shields and weapons. Alarms blared. Civilians were escorted into reinforced shelters, but Elias knew this battle would not be won by weapons alone. He looked at the creature, now massive and poised beside the fissure, and understood something vital. They would have to fight together. The creature emitted a low, resonant sound that Elias recognized as a warning, a signal to its young. The infants stirred slightly beneath the soil, safe under their guardian's care. Elias turned to Solis. "We have to coordinate with it. Trust it. Otherwise, the predators will overwhelm us." Solis hesitated. "You want us to fight with it?" "Yes, not against it. With it." Solis took a deep breath. "All units, follow Elias's guidance. Watch the creature. Work together." The first clash was sudden. A predator leaped toward the outer perimeter of the colony. The creature moved with astonishing speed, striking it down before it could reach humans. Another predator tried to circle the fissure, but the creature anticipated it, swinging a massive limb that sent the attacker tumbling back into the plains. Elias ran among the soldiers, signaling positions and movements. Using hand gestures and vibration pulses from his small device, he communicated patterns the creature recognized. Each signal directed its strikes, its defenses, and its positioning. Humans and the creature became a synchronized force. The creature's strength was unmatched, and its intelligence in battle was extraordinary. It knew where to strike and when to hold back, protecting the nest, the colony, and the humans coordinating with it. Hours passed in this tense dance. Predators kept coming, wave after wave, but the combined efforts of humans and the creature turned the tide. Humans used their shields and coordinated attacks. The creature used its immense size, strength, and awareness of the terrain. It was precision and power unlike anything the colony had ever witnessed. Elias marveled at the creature's thoughtfulness. Every movement protected something or someone. It was not fighting for destruction, it was defending life. One predator managed to slip past the outer defenses, heading straight for the fissure. Elias's heart pounded. He shouted into his communicator, "Get to the nest! Protect it!" The creature reacted instantly. With one swift, graceful motion, it intercepted the predator. The ground shook with the impact, and dust rose in clouds. Elias ran closer, placing his hand on the creature's massive limb again. The connection vibrated through him, steadying his nerves. "You see," he whispered, "we can face this together." The predator tried to strike, but the creature moved with intelligence and restraint, driving it away without harming it unnecessarily. The remaining predators, seeing their pack weakened and the humans working with the creature, began to retreat. When the battle ended, the plains were quiet. Dust settled. The fissure remained intact, the nest undisturbed, and the predators had fled. Humans emerged from shelters cautiously, staring in awe at the creature and Elias. Soldiers lowered their weapons, realizing they had just witnessed something extraordinary. Commander Solis approached Elias. Her face was lined with exhaustion but also with wonder. I've never seen anything like this," Elias smiled faintly. "It's not a monster. It's intelligent, protective, and aware. Humans and the creature together, we were stronger than fear and aggression." Solis nodded slowly. "Maybe this changes everything." Elias looked at the creature, now standing tall beside the fissure. Its golden eyes seemed to recognize every human watching, acknowledging their cooperation and respect. Its young stirred in the soil, safe and unharmed. "Do you see it?" Elias said softly. "It can learn from us. We can learn from it. Fear isn't the only response to the unknown. Courage, empathy, and trust, these are stronger." Over the next days, humans and the creature developed a careful bond. The colony learned how to interact with it safely. Elias studied its behavior, documenting its intelligence and emotional awareness. Soldiers learned its signals and gestures. Even civilians began leaving simple offerings, harmless objects, minerals, and devices that the creature could respond to. The giant being became a guardian of the colony, not a threat. It patrolled near the fissure, guiding humans with its presence and subtle gestures. Predators stayed away, knowing that humans and the creature were now allies. Elias often stood near the fissure, hand resting on its massive limb. The bond had grown deeper than he could have imagined. The creature responded with vibrations, gentle shifts of limbs, and subtle sounds that made him feel understood. For the first time, the humans of New Horizons saw that the unknown could be approached, that fear could be replaced with respect and courage, and that even the most terrifying beings could become friends. One evening, as the twin suns of Viridia began to set, Elias stood with Commander Solus and a group of soldiers near the fissure. The sky turned shades of amber and green. The creature lowered its massive body, bringing its glowing eyes level with Elias's face. Elias reached out. This time, the touch was longer, firmer, filled with understanding. The creature responded with a subtle, warm vibration that ran through his chest. Around them, the colony seemed to hold its breath. The humans saw the moment of connection, the first true bond between species. Solis whispered, "You've done what no human has ever done. You've reached beyond fear." Elias nodded. "Not just me. All of us. Humans can see beyond monsters when we choose to. We can act with courage, patience, and care." The creature's young stirred safely in their nest. The predators had been driven off, and for the first time, the humans realized that they were no longer small or weak in the universe. They had learned to face the unknown, and in doing so, they had grown. Days passed, and life began to settle. Humans rebuilt confidence in the colony. The giant creature remained near the fissure, no longer a source of fear, but a protector and companion. Scientists began to study its intelligence, amazed by its awareness, emotions, and problem-solving abilities. Elias continued his daily visits, leaving harmless objects, observing gestures, and recording vibrations. Every day, the connection strengthened. The creature learned to recognize individuals, to differentiate humans by behavior and energy. Humans learned to respect its signals, respond with calm gestures, and observe without interfering. Predators never returned. Word of the humans' alliance with the creature spread across the colony. Fear gradually transformed into admiration. Children left colorful stones near the fissure. Soldiers trained in coordination with the creature. The planet, once a place of danger, became a symbol of what humanity could achieve when courage and understanding guided their actions. Weeks later, Elias stood once more near the fissure, the sun casting long shadows across the golden fields. He looked at the creature, now calm and majestic, limbs resting on the earth, eyes glowing gently. The young were safe, moving slightly beneath the soil. He placed his hand against its massive limb. It pressed gently back, a silent acknowledgement. No words were necessary. They had reached a point of understanding deeper than language. Humans no longer shrank from the unknown. They had faced it, not with fear, but with courage, empathy, and patience. They had learned that intelligence and emotion were not limited to their species, and that life, no matter how strange or terrifying, deserved respect. Elias whispered softly, "We are small. Yes. But even small beings can make a difference. Even in the face of the unknown, we can touch the future." The creature shifted slightly, a low, resonant hum vibrating through the ground, a sound of recognition, trust, and connection. Around the fissure, the humans watched in awe. For the first time, the world had expanded instead of shrinking. Fear had been replaced by understanding. Monsters had become friends, and humanity had once again shown its greatest strength, the courage to reach beyond fear and touch the unknown. The suns of Viridia set, painting the sky with light and hope. And in that moment, humans, the creature, and the colony knew that a new chapter of life had begun. A chapter of trust, cooperation, and the endless possibilities of reaching beyond fear.